There she is.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Lana, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good. I are you getting ready for your class tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much ready.
What's tomorrow's class about?
Oh, tomorrow I'm gonna be teaching ganache. So how to formulate, how things are working with each other. So very much, pretty much a theoretical class. So it's gonna be very different from what I'm usually doing. Usually it's like mostly practical, but tomorrow a lot of theory, a lot of numbers, calculating.
Hey, my initial reaction is we have 100 people watching. That's like the busiest chocolatier chat we've had in 101,
Okay.
you know, the busiest chocolatier chat we've had in a while. So thank you for spending some time with us today.
Oh, great. I'm really happy about it. And I'm really sorry about last times that we had to schedule. It was just, oh.
I know the story. I won't make you tell it. Here, cover yours. Bad fish.
Oh, I'm not gonna be eating fish for next 10 years, I guess.
But if you live in Denmark, how do you not eat fish? Isn't everything fish?
Uh, Actually, surprisingly, no, but I'm not big on a fish to begin with. But I was trying to implement it in our eating routine to eat more healthy food, like less steak, more fish. And after accident with the sushi, I think we're pretty much sticking with steak.
And chocolate.
Yeah, and the chocolate, of course.
So you're not originally from Denmark,
No, I'm originally from Ukraine and I have moved to Denmark 4 years ago. Yeah.
and you're not originally a confectioner or a chocolate person.
No, not at all. I actually was an athlete and my education is like sports management. So I was as far as you can get from confectionery and pastry and everything like that.
Just because I'm interested, what sport?
Swimming.
But you don't like fish. So how did you get from sports management to pastry?
Well, long story short, my first job was in a big hotel back in Ukraine, and I got a job there as a translator because our top management, they were all foreigners, and we had a lot of translators there. And I got assigned to executive chef, and things are starting to go from there. So I hear first time I see the kitchen, how it's working, and we had like 6 kitchens in the hotel, so it was a lot of chefs working. And eventually I got absolutely fascinated with the world of restaurant business, food and beverage. It all became like super interesting for me. And after that, I really wanted to have a job in something connected with the food, with the kitchen. But since I wasn't the chef, it was kind of difficult. And I got somewhere like in the middle, I was a manager in a cooking school. So it was a big advantage for me because I also started and completed my chef education. I was participating in all the classes that we were held in school. And eventually I started being more inclined to pastry. And yeah, being on every single pastry class that we were doing. So it was, yeah.
What's funny is that I too started in a kitchen, and I worked mostly with hot food, so
Mm.
center plate stuff. And
Yeah.
I went back to culinary school later, and during my interview, they asked me why I wanted to do pastry and why don't you want to do the full culinary program. And my answer was because I never want to cut the head off a fish again. So I understand what you're saying. Like I was involved in the full kitchen, and pastry was where I found my passion, where I found my love. And then like you, chocolate found its way into my story. How did you know chocolate was what you wanted to do?
It kind of came gradually, and once I moved in Denmark, I became unemployed, and I was spending all my time just taking all the classes that I could possibly can, and just reading and going through. And I start learning and practically doing, because back then I learned a lot back in Ukraine, but I didn't have a time to start practicing. So now I had the time on my hands, and I start practicing, and I start doing everything: cakes, eclairs, macarons, everything. And eventually I understand that I really love doing chocolate decorations, and I understand, okay, chocolate something that I like. And the first year it was just a struggle. I don't know, I was driving my husband crazy. I was just so frustrated with the chocolates. It was ridiculous. Nothing worked, and I saw pictures in Instagram with this mirrored chocolate, just shiny, bright, and mine was just, oh, too bad. And yeah, and I started fell in love with the chocolate. And actually a year ago, I decided to participate in Copenhagen. Here we have a chocolate festival. So a lot of chocolatier and chocolate shops from all over the country. For 2 days are exhibiting their products, and people are buying, so kind of, yeah. So I decided to do it, and yeah, and it was absolutely unexpected success. It was great. So we sold everything that I prepared during the first day, and then I spent night cooking new chocolates, and then in the morning we came back. We did like a small portion, but we really want to come back and to do something more. And after that, I decided that I really want to just do chocolates. It's what I like. It's, yeah, what's mostly interesting for me. And then Corona started. Yeah.
It's almost been a year.
Yeah, almost a year.
I was in Italy February last year. I was there for CGIP in Rimini, and that was my last big hurrah pre-COVID. So that was a year ago.
Yeah, year ago.
So COVID starts, and you have to find something else to do.
Yeah, by the time of the COVID, I already got all the documentation, like century proceedings and everything, that I can start my production, like officially, with all the certificates and everything. And then it kind of wasn't needed anymore.
Right.
And I was just, keep practicing, and I really wanted to get results that I could see in my mind. So I was practicing, and then I think it was like beginning of last summer, when one of the online cooking schools, they asked me if I want to do a class with them as like guest teacher, and I tried it, and I loved it. And it's so much intact with what I was doing before, because I was working in a cooking school, so
Right.
all of it was really, really close to me. So I did that a couple of times, and after that, things I started, oh, I want to do this class and that class, and oh my God, I want to do that. And and it's going, I'm really happy with what I'm doing right now, especially in circumstances. I have people all over the world can join, and we can talk about chocolate like we are doing today.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so I spend too much time on Instagram, but probably not enough, right? Like all of us. And but my boss walks in one day, because I'd never seen your page, and he comes in and he starts sending me pictures. He's like, you got to look at this, you got to look at this, you got to look at this. And I'm like, okay, sure, Tim. So I look at it, and it was some of the work that you'd done, and so we subscribed to your page through Tomric and sort of watch what was going on, and that was my introduction to you. So thank you for sharing the knowledge that you have with everyone. But I think you're right. Instagram and the internet and gives us the ability to show what we can do and how we can be better. I mean, I think that especially in the era of COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
A lot more free time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what happens after COVID for you?
I don't think that, Yeah, I cannot say how it will affect overall my students, if they're going to be still participating or more people's going to get back to work. This I cannot know, but I definitely want to continue with teaching, and hopefully after quarantine is over, I will start producing some actual chocolates, because I'm not selling anything. So yeah, hopefully after I'm gonna resume these activities.
Is the goal retail, like a little shop, and or just sell?
mm, I cannot say that retail was ever my goal. Uh, yeah, it was never my goal, and I mean it's definitely something that every chef is thinking about, to have something on your own when you can have your things. But uh, retail is also a lot of times that you need to produce actual products and go, and so it is a lot of time, and I cannot say right now that it's my goal. My goal is to have for like a studio when I can definitely do classes. It is
Mhm.
definitely the goal to have a larger studio to do that, and if those things will fall into places, that retail might be an option. But yeah, I'm taking things step by step, and yeah, I think in these times you cannot predict what's going to happen in a year from now, honestly.
Or 2 weeks.
Yes, yes.
A non-chocolate call yesterday morning was we were making plans, and we were making plans for September, and at the end of it we're like, but none of it may happen.
No, exactly.
But I did this when we talked, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks, whenever. I did invite you to come and teach here with us, and I will extend that invitation publicly to everybody, that once you can come back to the once you've never been to the United States, right?
Yeah.
You are invited to come and teach in our teaching laboratory here.
Thank you very much, Brian. I would love to do that, and thank you for invitation. But it must be a pretty long flight. I never had such a long flight.
8 hours, it's easy.
Hours. Okay, it's not too bad.
You put the headset in, you watch a couple movies. I actually, it's a sad story, but my last trip home from Europe, I watched the whole Chernobyl miniseries.
Oh.
So that's what I did with my 8 hours. I watched a very sad event in your country.
Okay.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Yep.
So you mentioned that you were in the Ukraine and now you're in Denmark, and you mentioned your husband. So I assume that your husband, you moved for love.
Yeah, my husband is Dane, and yeah, I would probably never leave Ukraine if it wasn't for him.
What do you like about Denmark? There's got to be something you like other than the fish.
Uh, well, Denmark, I mean, food-wise, it's really big on pastry. Bread and pastry here is just amazing. It's really, really delicious. And about country overall, it is a very calm country. It is a beautiful country. We have a lot of sea coast, so 10 minutes on a bike and I'm already at the sea, which is like me coming from a city in the middle of Ukraine with like more than 1 million people population and just one tiny lake. For me, it's absolute luxury to have. So I really enjoy being so close to the sea. It's really cool.
Got it. So let's get back to chocolate a little bit. I mean, I know chocolate's now your thing, but did you grow up, I mean, at home, did you eat, was food a big deal, like growing up?
Uh, yeah, well, yeah. Well, in Ukraine, food traditions are very different. I mean, uh, cuisine that we eat is different from Europe, but Ukraine is really big on the food. There are like tons of cafe restaurants and everything. Like in many places, it's connected to the food. But my love to the chocolate has started long time ago, and I was eating a bar of chocolate every day. And my friend was even saying that if I'm angry, you need to throw a chocolate at me and close the door. So I was big fan of chocolate back then, and of course now when I tried all the couverture chocolate, chocolate bars, and it doesn't seem to be so interesting anymore.
kind of sad. I still, I still love, I grew up on really not very good chocolate, like bad American chocolate, truth be told.
Hmm.
And there's somewhere in my heart that I still like that not very good chocolate bar because it reminds me of my family and home and all that stuff.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, there is some like supermarket chocolate that I also enjoy time to time. Yeah, well, in like everything in life, you need to changes. So even if you're eating caviar or like all day long, you will be tired of it at some point. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's only so much Valrhona you can eat.
Yeah. Exactly.
What is your chocolate of choice these days for working in your classes and in professionally? What chocolate do you use?
Cacao berry. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's a really good stuff, and it's what's kind of easier to get here in Denmark. Valderona is not very presented here. So yeah, cacao berry is a good option.
So we were talking before tomorrow you're teaching a class on ganache. How
Yeah.
long are your classes online?
4 to 5 hours. So
It's pretty intense.
yeah, it's yeah, it's a yes. But I think it's a time limit when I can actually give everything what I was planning to this class, because I mean trying to make it too short, then losing out some of the information. It's better to take a little bit longer time and give everything that I have planned for class.
Right. And then last week you taught airbrushing and shine, I think.
Yeah. Last week it's what I called Max Shine. It's a class about shiny chocolates.
Hey, speaking of that, I'm not going away. I'm just walking away from the screen for a minute.
Okay.
I'm grabbing my phone and I'm going to Instagram. If I can find it, Instagram. Where are you? Now I'm looking for you. I mean, that's ridiculous how shiny that is.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Brian.
I mean, I know you offer classes, but I mean, you obviously polish your molds, right?
Actually, I'm not.
Thanks for being on team not polished, because I'm on team not polished too.
Woo!
So it's just about great temper, right?
Well, I believe that it has a lot of things to create this shine. It's about your color combinations. It's about how you work with your, of course, with your how you prepare your molds. I don't polish them, but they still need to be clean. Yeah, I clean my molds, but I don't polish them. And how you work with your cocoa butter. I believe there are. Is a thing that I love about chocolate, that it's a very precise work. It's creative, but a precise work. And only with the discipline you can achieve good result. But you need to be disciplined. You need to follow every single step, every single time.
Yeah, I say it's about rules, right?
Yeah.
And I got an email today we have another company, and they sell chocolate products, and they got an email from a customer that there was a problem and whatever, and they wanted to know my opinion. And I said that we all think we follow every rule every time, right? So if I want to get from Kiev to Buffalo, I have to take a plane from Kiev to Frankfurt, and from Frankfurt to New York, and New York to Buffalo. If I miss the flight from Kiev to Frankfurt, I can't get the rest of the way there, right? And I think my opinion about chocolate is that chocolate's going to do what it's going to do. We do something different.
Yeah.
Maybe the temperature's different. Maybe the chocolate's different. Maybe the tempering unit's different. But the chocolate's going to do what chocolate does.
Yeah, Yeah, it's just crystallizing and it's doing its thing.
Science. I mean, it's going to follow the rules, and I
Yeah,
think, and when we don't follow the rules is when we have problems,
yeah.
right? You know, the crazy thing is that I don't like following rules, right? Like I don't. But if I put 49% fat in my ganache, it's going
Hmm.
to break.
Of course.
It doesn't matter what I think, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't. It's good it tastes. It's going to break when I go to put it together, right? Like if I put 8% water in my ganache, I'm not going to be able to pipe it, right?
absolutely. I always in my classes I teach about crystal structures and crystal forms of the chocolate. But I truly believe that once you understand it, once you understand how it works and what it does, it will be much easier for you to get stable, good result. Because you're absolutely right. It just does what it does, and yeah, you need to get maximum out of it and how to control it.
I mean, you're not in a professional kitchen,
No.
right? What are some of the pieces of equipment that you use to help follow the rules in your little lab, otherwise known as your home kitchen and dining room?
Yeah, actually, right now I'm doing everything by hands. Uh, Now I'm finally got to the thought that I need to start getting professional equipment to help me or to make things faster. But right now I'm doing everything by hand, and it works because I'm not producing a lot. I don't have to produce thousands of chocolates every single day. And on my classes, people still need to see because not everyone has a tempering machine and melters and cooling tables and stuff like that. So not everyone has it. That's why my goal is to show people how to do it when you don't have a lot of equipment.
But you don't even have um, a Form 5 maker like the Easy Temper or the Satis machine that I can't remember the name of right now.
No.
Okay. So you should come here and play with us because we have everything.
Yeah, as I saw when you had the chat with Katie, it was just your kitchen, as I mentioned, was amazing. You have things that you can dream of. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could like if things get bad and it snows too much, I can climb in and I can nap. And it has hot air, right? So it's got heat built in or air conditioning. I can just stay here.
Wow. It's a very, very big vending machine.
60 kg.
Not bad.
Yeah. Compared to the little one. The little one's over there. So
Oh,
that's the temper unit. There we go. And then that's the small one. That's only 20 kg.
only.
More product than I can eat in one sitting, either way. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, our problem is that we don't sell anything, but when we're testing and demoing, suddenly then we have, you know, 60 pounds of chocolate covered hazelnuts that we have to give away. So
Now, our participants who are watching today, they're gonna start texting you.
send
Ask,
me,
yeah, what
yeah,
about hazelnuts?
what do we have? The hazelnuts? I don't even know what's over here now. I've got my panning rack. So hazelnuts, whoa, blueberries.
Oh,
These are really good.
oh, I believe so.
And we flavored the chocolate with lemon.
Mm.
So they're lemon and blueberries. They're
Oh,
delicious.
amazing. I love combination of sweet and sour. I think it's just the best.
Sorry.
Well, I don't know anything about making dragées, but it's something that I want to dive in when I have time. It's
So you come a day early for your class. We make dragé for a day. You teach a class for a couple of days, and then you go home with dragé for everyone.
sounds perfect.
Got it. So, I mean, you've watched a couple of these. I asked a question. I don't know how to translate it into Danish, but when What's your favorite supermarket candy bar?
I eat bounties quite often.
That's in Europe. That's the coconut with chocolate.
Hmm. Yeah, I eat bounties and like Snickers. Yeah, but yeah, I think bounties and Ritter Sport chocolates, they have a big variety. I don't know if they're sold in the United States, Ritter Sport. Yeah,
Not as much,
okay.
but
They're very, very common. And actually, they're pretty good. They have different dates like Roman raisins. Very, very good.
I've been to the Ritter cocoa processing facility in Nicaragua.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Huh.
Doesn't tell you anything about, my opinion about the chocolate, just that, look, there's the Ritter. Anyway. So this ganache class, obviously you've done a lot of formulas and you have to try things, and there's got to be something you thought was going to be great that really wasn't very good, that somebody looked at you and was like, that's a really bad idea. What flavor combination did you try to make that didn't work at all?
Um, well, for me, most of the flavor combinations with white chocolate are not working very well because for me they tend to be too sweet. So my main struggle is with the white chocolate, and I have one flavor that either you love it, either you hate it, and everyone who I give it a try is just or they're a fan of it or they just hated it. It's basil and lime, and it's yeah, I like infusing with the herbs. I think it's gives some interest and twist.
You infuse the dairy, the
Yeah,
cream.
use their white chocolate ganache infused with basil, like dairy infused with basil, and their lime pâté de fruit. So it's something that you love it or hate it.
Try the strawberry pâte à fouille with that.
Hmm. Okay.
I did a recipe like that this was when I still did culinary, that was a basil strawberry risotto.
Hmm.
And that was exactly the same reaction. People either loved it or they were like, you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It needs to go away. There was no, it's interesting. There was, this is great, or this is awful.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, are there ingredients in Denmark that are unique that you've discovered since you've been there for confection?
Mm, no. I'm mostly actually struggling here on finding ingredients that I want to include because maybe it sounds strange, but in Ukraine you can find everything. So any wild thought that you had, you can buy it. But in here, it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more difficult to find it. Like I had an idea of doing chocolates with white mushrooms, and finding this dried white mushrooms, it's actually a pretty big challenge. And yeah, there are some seasonal fruits, but it is pretty much the same climate as Ukraine, so we have the same range of fruits, the same range of yeah, berries and things like that. Mm, yeah.
So I know I'm not originally from Buffalo, but my family lives here. My mother lives here, and so COVID hasn't been that hard. I mean, work's been hard, but has it been okay not being able to get home? I mean, I'm assuming that family is still in the Ukraine. Do you miss
Uh,
everybody?
yeah, I really want to go home, and I have been in Ukraine September, yeah, so like end of August, September, and I usually go there every half a year, but right now, well, I can, but now I need to find time and get all the how it calls certificates that are negative, la la. And well, most troubling, most like problematic thing that now I'm not well. Kiev is a capital. I'm not from Kiev. I'm from different city. So now I need to fly to Kiev instead of just taking two flights. Now I need to fly to Kiev and take a train, spend the night in train, and it's yeah, it's quite a journey.
Someday this will all be over.
Yeah. Of course. It's just yeah. Right now, I'm trying to focus on the work. Things are just everyday stuff, and yeah, and days are flying really fast. Hopefully, we'll get to spring, summer soon. I think things will get better. As usually, it comes when sun is coming out and things like that. Yeah, is it cold in Buffalo these days?
What's cold?
Uh,
Zero? Is zero cold?
no, zero is nice, but -10 is cold, I would say.
Zero was the high today, I think. But it
Uh-huh.
was, oh, for the Americans watching, we're talking in Celsius, just so everybody knows. Zero, right? We're talking Celsius Fahrenheit. Zero was, but it was almost 10 degrees 2 days ago.
Oh, pretty nice.
But then we're supposed to be like -5 tomorrow. So
So,
the snow has melted a little bit,
okay, already good.
but we're almost out of it. Like the whole spring, like 2 more weeks, maybe
Hmm.
3 more weeks, and then it'll be better.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I won't have to wear my cap, my very warm cap. Um, so somebody just asked, is Buffalo next to Niagara? And yes, Buffalo is very close to Niagara Falls.
Mhm.
So if Anna, if somebody wants to take your class, how do they go about doing that? What do they need to do? How do they sign up? How do they participate?
Well, I have my website. I have link to my website in my bio in Instagram. So you basically just click a link and follow yeah, payment link and stuff like that. So kind
And
of.
then easy. You make it easy.
Yeah, well, yeah, right now I'm making it a bit harder on myself because I haven't made things automatic right now. I need to, next week we will start working on making things more automatic because right now I'm just answering everyone myself and it's taken a lot of time. So yeah, and then some emails are not reaching people, and of course participants are confused because they didn't get an email. I was sure that I sent it, but it lost somewhere in spam. So it's a lot of back and forward. So that the things will be hopefully fixed soon.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with that on our team. So this is the I'm pointing at the marketing department. Like that's their problem. Like when we do classes.
Do
But
you have chefs visiting your studio?
not very many.
Not.
It's difficult because we're in New York, and if you want to come into New York from certain states, you can come in. If you're from a state that doesn't touch New York, you have to quarantine for 4 days and
Okay.
then have a negative test, and then you can come. So our policy is generally we try to discourage people from coming right now because we
Mhm.
don't want to. It's just complicated.
Yeah.
So I do most of what I do now on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, I'm on Zoom 4 to 5 hours a day, many days. Yesterday, I think I was on Zoom for 7, and
Really?
yeah, it teaching and coaching, and I think you talking about being able to train people virtually. I mean, I think that's a skill that we all are going to have to get better at.
Mm-hmm.
I think the change is going to be the expectation is that I don't have to get on an airplane and go to Chicago or in the United States. I don't have to go to Chicago or Las Vegas to learn how to do something.
Yeah.
I should be able to do it the way that we're doing this. And as you know, it's challenging, right? It's easier to put something in someone's hand and say, this is how to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, definitely. I was watching your class from last no last year pastry chef summit.
okay. I don't even know what they did. What did they do for Pastry Chef Summit?
For pastry chef summit, you were doing tempering.
Right. And as you know, tempering something that you can read all the books of the world and you can watch all the videos, but somewhere you have to put chocolate on the marble, right? you've got to do it. You have to know what it
Yeah.
feels like. Like I you know who Awol Nodder is? Do you know who Awol Nodder is?
No.
Okay, look, Google him later. I'll send you the link. But Awol is a Swiss pastry chef who's been in the United States probably 40 years now, and he's a sugar artist and a chocolate artist, and does showpieces and things, and he's one of those people. You hold them up, and he's a master. He's a master, and I've known Awol for longer than I want to admit, longer than he wants to admit, probably. But I was sitting in on a class of Awol's, and he was making ganache, right? So his mixer, and one of the students asks, "What temperature do you take that to?" And Awol goes, 30, and the student goes, "Well, how do you know it's 30?" And Awol's a little older, and this student is 20 years old. And Awol's like, "Because I told you it's 30 degrees." Right? And the student's like, "Well, how do you know?" And Awol, he's Swiss German, right? Gets a little cranky and like grabs the laser thermometer off the cable, and it's 30.1 degrees.
Wow.
Right? And Awol goes, "That's how you know." And like, kind of like swings the thermometer back across the table, and the kid kind of sits back down very quietly. And but how do you know it's 30 degrees? Because you've done it 100 times. You've done it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the hard part about that teaching method, you can't touch it, you can't feel it. And for me, I know chocolate has rules, but I can, if I'm participating, I know I'm following the rules. If that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. That was a very long answer to a very short question. So, but
yeah, of course, I agree with you. And with the time you're starting you just, by the look of your chocolate, you know what degree when it's on a marble. So and then you kind of tend to just do your thing. And people like, "Why you didn't measure the temperature?" And I'm just, okay, sure, I must do it because I'm showing to participants. So I need to measure temperature. I need to show what temperature it is. But I don't have, of course, a lot of practice compared to people who are doing it for many years. But it's still something that you're starting to see.
it's also difficult, I think, somebody wants to ask a question like in the moment. And it's easier to answer the question in the moment than to let someone finish and then to ask the question, right?
Yeah.
Where, "Hey, Lana, why are you doing that way?" Right? As opposed to you're doing it and, you've asked your students to not ask questions until this. Does anybody have any questions? "Oh, yeah. 10 minutes ago when you were doing this, why did you do that?" And sort of like, "I don't know, because I did it that way." At least that's that's my problem with teaching this way, is that it's really hard when you have more than one person. If it's one-on-one, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, so somebody just asked, if they didn't sign up for your class tomorrow, but they want to take it later, are you teaching tomorrow's class again soon?
No, I probably won't do this class for next month or so. But all my classes are available as a recording, so you can purchase a recording and view it as a recorded version.
There you go. Available on your website.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and I think also a bit, maybe not a challenging, but tiring part about teaching online is that at least for me, for 5 hours, I'm talking non-stop. And I don't like, now we're having a dialogue, so it's easier. But I'm just talking into camera and all participants are muted, and I barely can hear just myself. And I just keep talking.
I go home and I sit down, and my wife and my daughter want to talk to me. I'm like, "I don't want to talk to anybody." Like I But it's hard, right? Like this is really easy for me. But like when I do demos, just where there's nothing, like, and nobody's in the room, right? Because I'm not masked and we're trying to follow COVID regulations, right? So my assistant isn't even in the room half the time. Yeah, you're talking to yourself for 2 hours. It's just like, I'm tired of hearing of myself,
Yeah.
right? So, hey, because somebody asked a question, I'm going to answer it. When using the silk method, do you have to bring the chocolate up and down? The answer is no. It's seeding. Tempered cocoa butter, injecting tempered cocoa butter crystals into 30-degree chocolate. Stir, done. Right? Did I answer that correctly?
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds good.
Do you often use like magic temper, easy temper machines? Yeah.
You know what? Okay, so time, and the maker of the Easy Temper is from North America, and is actually someone that I know pretty well, Carrie. And Carrie, we needed, like, somebody was teaching a class and they wanted us to have one for her, or they wanted us to have one. So I called Carrie. I said, Carrie, can I get one? And she said, sure. And when you're done, if you want to keep it, you can buy it. And I'm like, I'm not going to buy this thing. I don't need it. We have tempering units. What do I need this for? I now seed all my ganaches, all my colored cocoa butter all the time. Just because, back to our science conversation from earlier, my ganaches and right, and much faster, right? Yeah. So I don't have to wait as long for my ganaches to set or crystallize, because it's a couple hours. It's not 10 hours or 12 hours.
That's great. And
then the butters, especially if I'm spraying, I get better results.
It is something that I'm thinking for quite a while now of getting and trying. Yeah, so it's thank you for sharing your feedback. It sounds very, very interesting.
You know, and then there's some other things that you can do. So like if I'm doing showpieces too, then I can work at a little warmer temperature, which means I get a longer time to do the work, right? So if it's a big piece and I need to bend it or do something, the chocolate is warmer, so it takes longer to crystallize, and I have more time to do what I want to do. So somebody asked a question about seeding, and I said 30 degrees. I was using that as an example, but it depends on the chocolate. But that whole system kind of works. I leave my cocoa butter at like 32-ish, and my chocolate is usually around 30-ish. And then, yes, it works. And then I think the next question is, will it be saved? I think the answer is this program will be. It'll be on our Instagram page, on the Tom Rick Instagram page. So anyway, all these like easy temper questions now. Like all these people are asking questions about how do you set praline with silk?
Well, we're starting to talk about
science.
Of course.
When I'm setting a praline, I still use approximately like 2 to 3% and 100% cocoa butter when I'm using it to set a praline. Now, you don't need, whoever now is apologizing for starting it. It's okay. That's what we're here for. What else do we have? We've got like another 5 minutes. Anything else you want to talk about?
I wonder how we have more questions. Yeah, but you can answer.
I've been using my so Chocolate Parade is a follower of ours from the Middle East. Yeah. I don't remember where in the Middle East, to be honest.
Arab Emirates.
Got it. And so I never use it to temper my cocoa butter. Yep, temper your colored cocoa butters with it. It's great. I don't measure it though. I just put it on a pop stick and I stir it in like a little spoon. So what colored cocoa butters? Do you make your own cocoa butter?
Yeah, well, I don't do my own color, so I don't produce powder. I mostly use something that I do myself. I color my own cocoa butter.
Do you think why? That was a very long way to answer the question. Why? Because you can get the colors you want, or do you think it creates a better product?
Well, I use both. I have a lot of pre-colored cocoa butter from a lot of producers, and well, there are advantages and disadvantages to both. Advantage of using pre-colored cocoa butter is that you can already buy different shades of colors, and you don't have to sit and try to mix colors to achieve another shade. So it is definitely a huge advantage. So you just buy it or shake it, and it's ready to use. Coloring your own cocoa butter, it's I think with the simple colors like plain colors, red, black, white, it's really easy to color it yourself, and your costs are going low because it's much cheaper to buy powder colors and cocoa butter and just mix them together. And also whenever I'm mixing it myself, I'm pretty sure that I have the same steady result every single time.
Right.
Because I use the same brand, I use the same cocoa butter, so I'm pretty sure. And like, for instance, white color, I'm using a lot of white color. So if I'm going to be buying white color as a pre-colored, it's going to end up in a lot of pre-colored white cocoa butter.
Right.
And then I just take 500 grams of cocoa butter, I color it, and I have it for next month or two. So it's quite easy.
See, now people are asking all kinds of questions about like the stuff you answer in class, I bet. But like the percentage of color is going to change depending on the color and what you're trying to produce, right?
Percentage will change depending on how vivid you want your color, how opaque you want it is. So I go maximum 10%. It's maximum. So 1-to-10 ratio is maximum for me. But if you want to have more transparent colors, you can use less.
Do you add lusters to your colors too?
Yeah. Mostly golden luster. It's I love using it.
Yeah, I think that we use what's at least here is called interference colors, and it's more mica, right? And it the way that it reflects the light, it changes, right? So different colors are the way they cut the pieces, it changes the color. So I use it a lot in the panner.
Interesting.
Right, and for panning, I do make my own colored polishes, right? Because I can add color to the chocolate, but then if I add color to that polish, I get a better color. It's deeper, right? Because it's not one color. I think it was a tip that was said to me many years ago: never use color by itself directly out of the jar. Always blend two colors. And I think if you're making your own colors, you can control the color, and it's not the same color that shop down the road is using. Or now, having said all that, we sell colored cocoa butter, so colored cocoa butter is great. You should buy colored cocoa butter. But even when I'm using our colors, I'll take two different colors of red and I'll blend them together because somebody else isn't doing that.
Yeah.
They're not creating, and it may be the same next time. It's 5 drops of this and 3 drops of this to 100 grams of cocoa butter. But I think it makes us special if we do that. So.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a big advantage of having pre-colored cocoa butter because it's easier to mix the colors because you cannot mix a powder and see how it will look in the end. But when you have already mixed colors, you can blend a lot of different shades. It's big field for creativity.
Okay. So it should be your dinner time. I'm looking at the clock. And it's Friday night where you are. You should do something with people you love and not spend more time talking with me today.
Yeah, I will go warm up actually tacos I'm having today.
I had tacos last night.
Oh, great. Yeah, go warm up. Getting final. last things to my tomorrow class.
Quick answer to the question I just got asked. I don't know. We send lots of stuff to South America. Send us a message on either Instagram or our the Tomwork website, and we'll get an answer to that question if we can. So, Lana, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, Brian. It was super nice to talk to you today.
We'll do it again. You know what? You're coming next summer. So pencil summer of 2022 in for coming to Buffalo.
Great.
To teach a class.
Super.
You got 3 days of stuff? It's 3 days. Can you do a 3-day class with us?
Easily. I can do 10 days. I can
All right.
Going about the chocolate.
So you're going to come and teach a class with us in the summer of 2022.
Yeah, sounds fantastic.
And then you'll come back with us again one of these days. How about that? We'll pick a topic, colored cocoa butter, and we'll talk about colored cocoa butter for an hour. How's that?
Yes, it sounds fantastic. I think we should definitely do it once again.
All right. Enjoy your tacos.
Yes, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day and hopefully weekend.
Gonna try. I don't have to teach a class tomorrow like you do, so I'm good.
Good.
All right. Lana, thanks a bunch.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.